Good evening and welcome from the Federation for Children with Special Needs. We are so honored to have you all here with us this evening. I am going to hand it over to the interpreters so they can give you instructions.
Thank you. My name is Maple. I'm the Cantonese interpreter tonight. 大家好，我係今晚大家嘅廣東話翻譯。咁一陣間我哋會開啟呢個語言嘅功能，請大家喺屏幕嘅下方咧係揾地球儀嘅標誌，點擊入去之後咧就係揾 Cantonese 呢個頻道。如果你係用手機或者平板電腦上網咧，請你喺屏幕下方係點3個點寫住更多，選擇語言服務，亦都係選擇 Cantonese 呢個頻道嘅。一陣間見啦 ，Thank you。
Asian Creole.
It looks like, oh, here she comes.
So we'll give our Haitian Creole interpreter just a moment to get connected. Are you ready, Naomi?
Yeah, yes, I am. You want me to present myself?
Yes, and the instructions to access the language.
Okay.
When you're ready.
Yes, I am ready. I can start?
Yes.
Oh, hi, my name is Naomi. I'm Haitian Creole interpreter. Bonsoir, moi de Naomi, je suis interprète pour langue créole haïtien. Pour tendre des messages ça en créole, cliquez sur globe là et puis sélectionnez créole haïtien. Cliquez sur mute pour qu'à silence en audio original là et puis pour qu'attendre des présentations en créole seulement. Merci.
Hi, my name is Wei. I will be a Chinese Mandarin interpreter. 大家好，我是您的普通话同声传译Wei。如果你需要同声传译的话呢，请点击屏幕底部的地球仪标记，然后选择中文 Mandarin 选项。如果是用手机或者平板电脑的话呢，请点击3个点，然后选择更多，然后进入这个翻译频道。然后你进去的时候呢，你要这个选中这个语言，但是把原始的这个音频要把它给关闭就是这样的话呢，你只听到这个我们翻译的这个声音。Thank you very much.
Olá, boa tarde, boa noite. Eu sou Marcos Pereira, intérprete de português para vocês hoje à tarde. E logo que a interpretação for ligada, vocês, por favor, dirigam-se à parte inferior da tela, onde haverá um globo. É só clicar no globo e as opções de interpretação ficarão disponíveis. Escolham o português e, se não quiserem ouvir o áudio original, é simplesmente tocar no botão de emudecê-lo. Obrigado.
You are mute. Carlos, you're mute.
Thank you. Mi nombre es Carlos. Yo voy a hacer el traductor de español para ustedes y para escoger su idioma van a tener un globo en su pantalla que va a aparecer y cliquean ahí y escogen Spanish, o sea, español. Si resulta que tienen un Zoom más adelantado, una versión nueva, pueda que tengan simplemente una barra donde dice English and Spanish. Entonces, you can click en the Spanish o español y van a tener el idioma. Entonces, es un placer estar con ustedes. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lynn. I will be the Vietnamese interpreter today. Xin chào, tên tôi là Linh. Tôi là phiên dịch tiếng Việt cho sự kiện hôm nay. Nếu quý vị muốn nghe phiên dịch trực tiếp bằng tiếng Việt, xin vui lòng bấm vào biểu tượng quả địa cầu bên dưới màn hình. Sau đó bấm Vietnamese và bấm Mute Original Audio để tắt tiếng Anh để chị nghe được tiếng Việt. Xin cảm ơn. Thank you and back to you.
Thank you so much, interpreters. We hope everyone has received and understood the instructions for accessing your language. My name is Andrea Parker. I'm a project director at the Federation for Children with Special Needs. And I would like to introduce our speakers this evening from Massachusetts Rehab Commission, Amanda Baczko and Manel Desvallons. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Andrea. Give me a sec, everyone. I'm just going to share our slides. Can you see those all right? Okay, great. Thank you everyone for being here this evening. Really appreciate it. I know most of you are probably very busy, so we're really happy to have you here, and hopefully this can be informative and helpful. My name is Amanda Baczko, as Andrea mentioned, and I am the director for a newer office at Mass Rehab Commission called the Office of Individual and Family Engagement. And myself and my colleague Manel are going to be sharing a little bit about MRC as a whole, as well as a lot of detail about what our office is doing and how our office can support you, your loved ones, and anyone that you know who needs supports from Mass Rehab. So we're going to share a little bit about those pieces and then really spend the last part of today opening it up for questions. So if you have questions, you can put those in the Q&A spot on your panel. You can talk to each other in the chat, or you can raise your hand at the end and we'll just give those directions at the end. We will hold questions to the end, but drop them into the Q&A now or whenever they come up so you don't forget them, if that's helpful. So in order to talk about the development of this newer Office of Individual and Family Engagement, we really wanted to first give you the framework of how this office came to be at Mass Rehab. This is, as far as we know, one first of its kind office at a Voc Rehab agency. We have not been able to find another state that's replicating this work. And so we were really excited to bring this office to our agency. And how that came to be is our Commissioner Tony Wolf, was really interested in building an MRC or an agency that was really forward-thinking and addressing the needs of individuals with disabilities and their families. And in order to do that, she wanted to get the pulse on what does the disability community need. So she underwent what was called a business process redesign and conducted interviews and surveys with family members, people with disabilities, professionals in the field, other nonprofit organizations, and really asked to bring these groups together to identify the priorities Mass Rehab needed to take. And coming out of that were 30 priorities that Mass Rehab has been working on over the several years and are still completing as of this year. And they are all about improving our agency for the disability community. And one of the priorities that every single person, community group spoke to is wanting Mass Rehab to improve the way that we engage with individuals with disabilities and their families. And so we wanted to do that in a more effective, authentic, and meaningful way. And that's how this office came to be. And so I am the director for the office, and I've been at Mass Rehab for around 1.5 years at this point. But before I came here, I spent the last decade elevating the voices of individuals with lived mental health disabilities and helping to advise and create systems where families and individuals could give their feedback to change and improve services. So this is near and dear to my heart. And I also have lived experience of mental health disabilities and have family members with disabilities. So this is both a personal and professional passion of mine. And so when I came into this work, my goal was to really help Mass Rehab Commission elevate the way that we engage with individuals and their families. So before we go into what our office is doing, because that sounds wonderful, but what does that actually mean and how are we accomplishing those goals? First, I wanted to give everyone a foundational understanding of what services exist at our agency. For some of you, this may be old news, and for others, you may know about some of our services, like our employment supports, but you might not know about our community living or home care services. And there's a lot under the umbrella of our agency that we want to make sure everyone is aware of. So Manel and I are going to do a high-level overview of services, but our office is going to provide contact information in the slides, and we'll also drop it in the chat because we want you to reach out. If you hear something that you want to know more about, contact us. If you have services and you're not satisfied, reach out. If you don't know what we're talking about and need more information to figure out if a service is helpful to you or your loved ones, contact us. We will get back to you quickly, and we will get on the line and do whatever it takes to help you figure out what you need for your family. So who are we at Mass Rehab? We've kind of been rebranding and thinking about a new mission and vision for our office and our agency. And as part of that, we actually invited a group of individuals with disabilities that Manel and I are partnering with to share their experiences about our services. So you'll see photos of individuals peppered throughout our slides, and those are actually real individuals that we serve with lived experience who have shared their experience to help shape our services, and who participated in a photo shoot to go along with their stories. And so you've probably seen some of their stories if you visited our website or our social media, but you'll continue to hear from them as they help to shape our services in a role that's newer to the agency, which we'll talk about later. But basically, the idea of Mass Rehab Commission is that we provide services that break down barriers and empower people to live the lives that they want in the community. And we serve individuals with disabilities, but we also serve and empower family members. We know how important it is to have family voice at the table and allies when you're making decisions about what you need in your life. And so we are a program that believes in really recognizing and valuing the voice of the community. And that's where Manel and I's work comes in. Really brief overview of our vocational rehab or employment services, just to make sure we're all clear on what those are. Our employment services really are geared at helping people with disabilities find and keep jobs in this modern workforce. And I think this is especially important when we're in a pandemic, because the new world of work is kind of shifting to a hybrid model and working from home, and different barriers are coming up, and we're all trying to figure out this new world of work, which makes employment services for the disability community even more important. And so our programs can help people find out their passion about work, get connected to work opportunities, find careers and things that they're passionate about that they want to build into long-standing career direction. Some of the services, but this isn't even all of them, that fall under our Voc Rehab services or our employment services are things like we can connect people with full-time employment, internships. We can pay for people to get career assessments to figure out what type of career might fit their skills and passions. We do vocational training, so we can help pay for you to go to school or get a vocational certificate to get into a field that you're interested in that you may need an educational background for. We do job-driven trainings. We had a cybersecurity training recently, which we provided for several months. And then at the end, a lot of folks were fed into apprenticeships and jobs in cybersecurity. And most of these people walked in the door with no background knowledge about cybersecurity. So we do a lot of different things. If and when someone finds a job and is on benefits, we can also refer and connect people with benefits counselors and provide that service, because a lot of folks in the community want to find work, but are also anxious about, will that negatively impact my family? Will I end up owing money to Social Security, and what that looks like? So we're available for that as well. I'm going to now turn it over to Manel, who's going to talk about a little bit more about the other services that we provide in addition to our Voc Rehab or employment services.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you to the Federation, and thank you to all the family members, professionals, and allies that tuned in to this presentation this afternoon. Thank you for being here. My name is Manel Desvallons. I am the Family Partnership Coordinator at Mass Rehab Commission, and my role as a Family Partnership Coordinator is to ensure that family voice is incorporated and integrated into everything that we do at Mass Rehab. We believe that family voice matters, and we need to collaborate with the families as well as the individuals to improve the services and supports we provide at Mass Rehab. As Amanda was saying, she talked about the VR program that we have at Mass Rehab, connecting individuals to employment. Another division we have is the Community Living Division. Our Community Living Division empowers individuals to participate in the communities of their choice and to build a better life on their own terms, meaning that the individual will be at the center, driving the goals, driving the plan, driving the vision for a good life, for a better life. Also, what we do, the way we do that, we partner with the individuals to expand what's possible for youth and adults with disabilities by providing them with the support that they need, the technology that they need, and also the training to become self-sufficient so they can lead a life on their own with the supports around them, the support of families, the support of the community, with assistive technology, so they can have control over their own lives. Next slide, please. Some of our community living services include the independent living centers. We partner with the independent living centers. Those centers, there are 10 across the state, and the independent living centers are a great place to start. So if you don't know where to go, if you don't know where to start, what's out there, the independent living centers, they can also provide referrals to different programs, and they can provide information about different programs that are available to families and individuals with disabilities. And also there's the Turning 22 Youth Transition Programs. There's the supported living programs. And some of those programs, there are different eligibility criteria. So if you have questions about one of those programs here, please, you can reach out to myself or Amanda, send us an email, and we can connect you to the right person that can provide more information or talk about the eligibility criteria for each program. And we have the home care assistance program within Mass Rehab. And there are ways we can help with housing. And we have the assistive technology, training and devices, Mass Match, also that's regarding assistive technology, and also community-based residential day and support services for persons with brain injuries in connection with SHIP, the statewide head injury program. Next slide, please. Also at Mass Rehab, we have the DDS, so they call themselves the original DDS. Some of you may have heard about DDS, the Department of Development, the Department of Developmental Services, but this DDS is the Disability Determination Services. So what they do, if an individual is limited in certain areas when it comes to employment, so this office is here to help determine if that individual is eligible for disability benefits. So they work together with Social Security to determine if the individual is eligible for benefits. The individual can apply for SSI or SSDI through Social Security, and that's where the partnership is between DDS and Social Security. So they work to assess the individual's situation, the eligibility, the disability criteria, and also they also make the determination for benefits eligibility as well. And if you have a disability and you're applying for benefits through Social Security, you will be working with the DDS office on your case. And that's the connection Mass Rehab has with Social Security to determine eligibility for benefits. Next slide, please. And also at Mass Rehab, we partner with agencies as well, with the state police and some of the ASAPs too, on protective services. So the Protective Services Department, they investigate reports of abuse, neglect of persons with disabilities committed by a caregiver, it could be a family member or friends, under the authority of the DPPC, the Disabled Persons Protection Commission. To file a report of abuse to a person with a disability, the DPPC hotline can be contacted anytime at 800-426-9009. And us as as human service workers, we are mandated reporters. But if you suspect an abuse, you can definitely report that. It could be physical abuse of a person with a disability, verbal abuse of a person with a disability, financial abuse, neglect, sexual abuse of a person with a disability. Please do not hesitate to contact the DPPC. Next slide, please. And we have an exciting way of, we are at Mass Rehab every day, we are working to streamline things, to make them better, to make the forms easier, to make the process easier for everyone seeking services at Mass Rehab. And we introduced Mass Rehab Connect. And what it does, Mass Rehab Connect aims to bring a personal touch to our work with individuals with disability. These days, as we spend more time online, we want to make it easy as possible for individuals with disability to learn more and how to access the services from home. And that's why we introduced Mass Rehab Connect. So it's a virtual gateway to the programs and resources and services and supports you need to live life on your own terms in the community. So Mass Rehab Connect staff will be there with you through every step of the application process to connect you with the programs that are the right fit for you and the programs that you may be eligible for. Most importantly, whether you reach us over the phone or online, you will always have access to the support you need to make the most of your partnership with Mass Rehab. So that's why we have Mass Rehab Connect, just to make things easier, the application process easier. As we know, paperwork can be overwhelming for some family members. They may not understand it better. They may not understand it, the wording, all that comes with it. So with Mass Rehab Connect, you don't have to apply to individuals' programs. With one application, a Mass Rehab Connect staff can inform you of the different programs that you may be eligible for at Mass Rehab with one single application. And that's one of the benefits that comes with Mass Rehab Connect. It reduces the process, it reduces paperwork, and then it sort of streamlines it to make it easier for family members and individuals with disability. Next slide, please. Now, as Amanda mentioned, our commissioner, who is dedicated to improve services and support for all individuals with disabilities and their families, that's now we have a new office. It's been officially active for about a year. So this new office at Mass Rehab is the Office of Individual and Family Engagement. So I will go over our vision, our mission, and our focus and priorities for this new office at Mass Rehab, and how we are partnering with individuals with disabilities and their families to receive their feedback, their ideas, and what they have to say, so we can take notes and assess how we do things and continue to work to improve the services and supports we offer to all individuals and families at Mass Rehab. Next slide, please, Amanda. So the Office of Individual and Family Engagement, our mission statement is that we are committed to make sure that the delivery and development of comprehensive services, supports, and community engagement opportunities across the Commonwealth for all individuals with disabilities. We believe to do this, to really deliver on comprehensive services for all, we believe that we have to partner with individuals with disabilities, their families, their chosen allies, to inspire, to educate, to develop, and to break down existing systemic barriers. And we know there are a lot of barriers, there are a lot of challenging facing family members and individuals with disability. And there are a lot of communities that are underserved and unserved. When we think of the bilingual communities, when we think of the different diverse communities that are underserved, that are not getting the information that they need to make better decisions for their families, to help their loved ones make better decisions, to work on a vision for their lives. So these are the things Amanda and I in this office we are thinking of. We are thinking of intentional engagement, intentional outreach to diverse communities that haven't had access to information and the resources and the services available to them. And also our vision, we believe that the way to make this work meaningful, the way to approach this work is to involve the disability community. So our vision is based on the philosophy that individuals with disabilities have the same basic rights as people without disabilities. So they need to have the same access to opportunities, the same access to resources and services and support that are available in the community. And also we aspire to become the model service delivery agency in Massachusetts and beyond. Amanda and I, we've partnered with organizations and agencies in other states. So we are working to make sure that individuals with disabilities have access, options, control, opportunities, youth and young adults and adults alike, so they all can have opportunities and access to information that they need so they can make better decisions for their lives based on what's available to them. We will do this, we will achieve our vision, or we will put our vision into action by breaking down barriers and ensuring that individuals with disabilities have full and equitable access to the services and supports they want and need to live self-sufficient and fulfilling lives in the communities of their choice. So we believe that we cannot do this alone. So that's why we are partnering with the Federation. That's why we are partnering with youth with disabilities. That's why we are partnering with adults with disabilities. We are partnering with our allies, with the disability community as a whole, so we can come together collaboratively and find ways to break down the barriers, to make things easier for parents, for family members, for individuals with disabilities, for youth, and to bring hope to them that things will get better, things can get better. And that's why Amanda and I, we are committed with the engagement, we are committed to outreach, and we are committed to make sure that we work together to improve the services and support offered to all individuals with disabilities. Next slide, please. And our focus in this office, Amanda and I, we don't believe that a good life only entails employment or just one thing. So Amanda and I, we are focusing on the different aspect of a good life for a young adult in high school right now, for a young adult about to graduate, for a young adult entering the adult life, for adults also. We are partnering with them, we are collaborating with them, and these are some of the focus that our office, we are working on, and we are addressing them, we are discussing them, we are bringing these issues, these barriers into the forefront, and we want to partner with all of you to make sure things to make sure things are moving forward in the right direction for all individuals and families. So some of the things Amanda and I, we've been working on, we've had a lot of meetings on, we've collaborated on with our partners and families, is accessibility to services, to support, accessibility in the community, accessibility to employment services, accessibility to different things in the community that individuals and families can look into. And we've collaborated on housing. We are talking about housing, affordable housing, accessible housing, available housing that are there for individuals with disabilities. And we are also focusing on employment, transportation, education, assistive technology, healthcare, transition from high school to the community, transition from high school to adulthood, transition from nursing facilities to the community. So we are also focusing on transition as a whole, and also work on the social, systemic, and attitudinal barriers that exist. Oftentimes, people with disabilities are mistreated. Oftentimes, people with disabilities are looked down upon. Oftentimes, people with disabilities don't have the access, they don't have the same rights, they don't have the same opportunities as individuals without disabilities. Amanda and I, we don't think we know everything. We don't think we have all the answers. That's why we want to collaborate with you all. We want to collaborate with the Federation, but we believe that things must improve for all families, the diverse families that are underserved, the bilingual families that are underserved. We believe all these things matter for a good life. A youth transitioning from high school to the community, they need to be equipped with the skills, with the self-advocacy, with the awareness, with a vision for the life. They may be asking themselves, family members may be asking, where will my kid live after high school? What's available for my kid? What's a good vision? What's the vision for a good life? What's available for social life? And as mentioned, we don't think employment alone is the answer. Amanda and I, we are focusing on the full life, the social life, community living. A lot of people are in the community, but they're not part of the community. So we want to make sure family members and individuals have access to what's available so they can be a part of the community, making friends, housing, employment, education, going on dates, different things like that we are focusing on. And we don't believe we can do it alone. We need your help. We need to collaborate with agencies like the Federation and other agencies, allies that believe in this work, that believe that all individuals with disabilities deserve the same rights, the same access. And that's why we do this, to work with family members, individuals, and agencies to make things better. It hasn't been good for a lot of family members, but we want to work with you all to make it better. With that, I will turn it back over to Amanda.
Thank you, Manel. I'm going to go through the next couple slides fairly briefly because we have some amazing questions in the chat. So I want to make sure we allow adequate time to really hear what you want to know. And we're happy to present again in any arena. So if you have places you'd like us to come share more about MRC at, or answer questions, or hear feedback, the good, the bad, and everything in between, please let us know. We wanted to just quickly share some of the priorities that are coming out of this newer office that we've started working on to kind of build the foundation at MRC of what the Office of Individual and Family Engagement can do to help elevate family and disability voice. So one of the things that we've been working on is we have onboarded around 9 individuals with lived experience of disabilities who are working in a part-time capacity in our office and are being embedded in all decision-making spaces at the agency to really advise us and bring disability voice to the table. This is part-time contracted positions, and they last around a year, and we just started our pilot for this, and it has been amazing already. We have people sitting on all of our hiring panels for MRC staff. We have individuals with disabilities leading development of policies. We have folks sitting on our strategic plan team, which is the plan that I referenced at the beginning of this presentation, where Commissioner Wolf created a plan to change the agency over several years and to address community priorities. And we have them at multiple presentations and at our forums. And really kind of advising us on how to bring in disability voice. After the pilot, Manel will also be leading the charge to bring in family inclusion leaders to do similar work from a family perspective. So stay tuned because there's a lot more to come on that, but we're still working up in the pilot of individuals with lived experience of disabilities, but we'll come back here to share more about the family positions once they're up and running. We are also hosting quarterly 2-hour virtual forums on Zoom to bring together the disability community and family allies to hear about our services and provide feedback. We've had several so far, and our next one is actually next week, Tuesday, April 12th, from 4:30 to 6:30. I will drop the link to that in the chat after this. But each forum is themed around a type of service we provide, and it follows a similar format every time. We have folks who deliver the service at MRC come to share information about it. So to break down the barrier of what is the service, who's eligible, how do you apply, what can you get, does it cost anything, and how to stay engaged when things aren't going well. And then we also have individuals we serve and family members providing their direct experience with our services, so they can share a little bit about what it looked like for them to get connected. So you can hear firsthand from people who have walked the walk. I mean, Manel and I can sing the praises of our services all day. It matters a lot more when you're hearing it from someone who's experienced the service. And then we also get feedback from the community, because we have a lot of work to do and we are growing. And along with growth comes growing pains. So not everyone has been satisfied with their mass rehab services, which is also why this office exists, to better connect with the community to understand what needs to look different. And that's why this forum exists, because we heard from you all, no one knows everything that MRC does. And it's been a long time that MRC has existed and people still aren't clear what we can offer them. So this forum is a place where we're starting to share that message. In addition to the forum, we also now have a quarterly newsletter going out. This goes out to over 30,000 people. Automatically, if you are a former or current recipient of MRC services, you are on that newsletter. If people here are interested in getting subscribed to that newsletter, you can email Manel or I, or you can ask Andrea or the Federation to share your contact information, and we will get you registered and subscribed. These quarterly newsletters come from our office, and again, share information about our services, share stories from recipients of our services, share upcoming events like our forums, like presentations we might be doing, and help to spread the word. And we also want more feedback from you all on what kind of content you want in the newsletter, so it would be lovely to get more people registered and linked up on that. We are also working to provide individualized and ongoing support to our staff at Mass Rehab. And I think this is very important, because in building this new culture at MRC and elevating our services, as Commissioner has really been responsible for doing over the last several years, it also requires a foundational understanding of what families and individuals need across our staff. So Manel and I are starting to create mandatory trainings for orientation for all new staff about the disability movement, the disability history, cultural awareness, and best practice for engaging folks. We're also going to be doing specialized trainings. So for example, people with lived experience and mental health conditions are a major population we serve. Over 40% of the folks we serve have an identified mental health condition. So how to better serve that unique community. And then we're also joining calls. If someone is not satisfied with their services or struggling to connect, call us, because we can also join the call with your case manager, join the call with your counselor, help them problem solve from the MRC side to take the burden off of you. So we can also be the bridge for you to get to MRC or to repair a relationship with MRC. And lastly, I'll mention this briefly because we'll probably talk a lot more about it during the Q&A. We're also trying to establish a new culture shift. MRC has always engaged families, but we want to elevate that engagement. So recently we've done a lot of partnering with the Federation. Manel and I are both taking a Charting the Life course training. We've linked up with the Massachusetts Family Engagement Framework. And for those of you who are unaware, these are structured models on how to better engage families in services like ours. And then we're going to be delivering and creating content to train our staff on these models to be able to think differently about how they engage families. Or if they're already really strong in family engagement, to have some new tools and ways of addressing these issues. So I want to stop there and really open it up to the chat. But before I do that, I just want to reference that you are going to get copies of these slides, and they will include all of our email addresses. So if you have a question or a concern, or you want to be linked up, please email us. We also are on all social media, so you can find us there. But if you want a direct connection to Manel and I, email is the best way. And we're just really excited to really think differently about family engagement and to hear from you on what you all need. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can really get to the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Amanda and Manel and Massachusetts Rehab Commission, the Office of Individual and Family Engagement, and Family Partnerships Coordinator, Manel. Thank you. We have such wonderful questions here, both in the Q&A and the chat. So I'm going to do my best to highlight some of these, and we'll get through as many as we can. And if we don't get to your question, please do reach out to Amanda and or Manel. And if you could drop those emails in the chat, that would probably be useful. Will your office area office visits include training for counselors? So I think this is the building capacity question, right? Training for counselors on these supports and this philosophy.
Great question. So a couple pieces of that. Manel and I are embarking on what we're calling a listening and learning tour, where we are visiting every office in our agency and external offices and organizations to share exactly the message we're sharing here. So yes, we are going around and sharing this message internally and externally. We're actually meeting with all of our employee resource groups. That's our second cohort of folks. And those are groups that are committed to certain populations and communities, like the LGBTQ plus community, or our bilingual community. And so we're really kind of navigating through every area. We are also going on physical site visits with the commissioner over the next, I think it's even like 7 months, because we have so many areas, to meet with each office and to hear their feedback and to provide content and guidance from our office. And then the third piece, because there's a lot of moving pieces, is we're also developing training for our staff. So yes, we are developing different levels of training. One will be a required training for all staff to complete annually about engagement. And that will be part of their normal routine and expectation to be a staff member at MRC. But if there are specific areas of need that you all find about family voice that would be particularly relevant to our staff, tell us. We're open to it, and we are all newly obsessed charting the life course ambassadors. And so there's so many tools there about family engagement that we're already working with folks behind the scenes to figure out how do we bring that to Mass Rehab, because Manel's had multiple meetings with Federation staff to say, we need this, how do we do this? So yes, and those are a couple of the ways we're doing it, but there's plenty more, and we're happy to connect with you and provide more detail. Go ahead, Manel, if you want to add to anything.
No, I was just going to add to that, to let everyone knows that we know Mass Rehab is not perfect. We know there are things that we could have done better in the past, but I can assure you all that our commissioner is committed to make sure we are moving in a new direction, from staffing to services to support to our alliances in the community, to make sure that all families have access to our services and supports. But we need you to work with us. We need you to let us know what's working, what's not working, so we can correct the things that we can do better and also double down on the things that are going well. So every family members can have access to the services that we provide at Mass Rehab.
Thank you so much, Manel. In your responses, both of you here, Amanda and Manel, I hear just such a desire to authentically partner with families and authentically really listen and repair harm when and if there has been harm. And I love that you acknowledge that. And that's a great segue here into another question where, it's great if we know about the family partnership, the Office of the Individual and Family Engagement and Family Partnership, but if we don't, and we're dealing with the frontline staff that maybe isn't, so well trained on family engagement, to what extent is staff being trained in trauma-informed practices and really engaging with these young adults that might be, over the age of 18, and so they're trying to advocate for themselves, but maybe because of the barriers they're facing, be those cognitive, be they mental health, to what extent is staff getting better prepared to work with these young adults?
So that's a great question, and again, a couple points that I think are relevant. Specifically to the mental health community, as I mentioned, it's one of our largest populations we serve. And so we actually have a partnership called, and I'm going to do an acronym, ACCS, or Adult Community Clinical Services. Don't quote me on that. I might have messed up the C's. But essentially, it's a partnership where people with mental health conditions can work with a voc rehab counselor that's specifically trained and comfortable working with people with lived experience mental illness, and connect with the Department of Mental Health to get their services. So if you're interested or feel like ACCS is something your family should have been or you would have wanted to be connected to, we can help think that through with you. But that is a subset of folks we serve because not everyone needs that level of support. So for those with mental health conditions just walking through the general door of Mass Rehab, we are absolutely undergoing different levels of training for our staff. One example, we have a lot of people that come in with mental health conditions and co-occurring substance use disorders. So we have a new substance use task force, or a SUD task force, that is conducting trainings across the agency all about how to support people with lived experience of mental health and substance use, how to identify and refer, and using best practice and evidence-based models to do that. And the other piece that's the most exciting part when it comes to the young adults that I cannot share more excitement when I talk about this, is our Next Gen grant, which is relatively new. Manel has done so much amazing work with that. I'm actually going to have him describe it, but it's probably the most innovative way we're thinking at MRC about how to engage with young people specifically, because young people do not respond in the same way to services, and they shouldn't. That's not within their youth culture, so it makes perfect sense. So Manel, do you want to briefly describe what Next Gen is?
Yes, I will briefly, and if you want more information, you can send me an email, or we can set up a phone call or a Zoom call, and I can provide more information about Next Gen. So Next Gen is a grant that Mass Rehab received to get creative, to work with our allies, to improve employment outcomes for youth with disabilities from 18 through 30. So with this Next Gen program, individuals with disability will have a choice between going between standard VR, vocational rehab, and Next Gen. So with Next Gen, we want to get into the world of the youth, what they like, how they communicate, how they sort of discover them, who they are, and also work with them on a vision for their lives with employment, and connecting them to the community, to other services that they may be eligible for. But the focus will be to improve employment outcome. So it will be a new approach to make sure that we are communicating with the youth, get into their world, how they communicate, what works for them, outreach to them, engaging them. And the best thing about this, as we are creating this new initiative, everyone is involved at the very beginning of the project. We've done focus group with family members. We've done focus group with employers. We've done focus group with other professionals. We've done focus group with the youth. We've done focus group with family members. So that's the approach. We want to hear from our community. We want to hear how we can improve employment outcomes for all youth with disabilities. But with Next Gen, we'll focus on 18 through 30, but traditional VR, vocational rehab, will still be available, but this next gen will be the individual and their families. They will have a choice. We will talk about VR, and we will also introduce them to next gen, and they can make a choice to which employment path is best for the individual. But if you want to know more, I can certainly talk to you more. We can talk through the phone, or we can set up a Zoom call. I can provide more information about that.
And I just want to clarify that you probably haven't heard much about this yet because this is a brand new grant we were just awarded. We're still hiring staff, including peer specialists for the first time at MRC to do this work. And services will begin more in the fall. So like October, November, December. But we'll be back with a lot more information about Next Gen. And you'll probably be hearing a lot from Manel moving forward when we're in the phase of actually recruiting and doing outreach. I just didn't want people to be nervous as to why haven't we heard about this.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I just want to highlight that we do have, between 20 and 25 excellent questions still in the Q&A, and we do just have about, a little less than 10 minutes. I wanted to just share that with all our participants. It's clear that there is a need and that there is an interest for information here. And if we do not get to your question, please reach out to Manel and or Amanda. So I'd like to highlight a trend I'm seeing in the Q&A. There's quite a few questions, caregivers that are, asking on behalf of their teen young adults who may be looking to go to college, may be looking to go to community college, are looking for an internship opportunity. What can you say to those families?
Yeah, I'm going to keep our responses brief so we can get through as many questions. Essentially, the response to that is our vocational rehab services, if you meet eligibility, and I say that just because it's different for each service, our eligibility requirements, because some are federal, some are state. But if you are eligible for voc rehab services, and you want to go to an undergrad or community college program and it's relevant to your work goals, MRC can and does in many cases support funding for that, including tuition and books and other things. So if you think that's you or someone you love, reach out to us and we can provide you a more individualized response based on if you would be eligible and what that would look like and help you connect with the right folks. So the short answer is yes, for some that is a resource we can provide.
And what I can add to that, Easter Seals has a program called College Navigator that can help a young adult with disabilities throughout their freshman year in college by providing support and advocacy. So Easter Seals is also a resource that we can look into as well when it comes to support for youth in college.
Mm-hmm. Super. So thank you again so much. Another question I'm seeing, I heard you talk a few times about lived experiences, and we did have a participant that wanted to know what was meant by that. So if you could just answer that briefly.
Sure. It's a term that's used in a lot of communities of people with exactly that, experiences that they've lived through that have helped shape their culture and their identity and what they can offer to the world. So you'll hear that term, lived experience of a disability, lived experience of mental health conditions, lived experience of substance use. And what it essentially means is people want to share that they've lived that experience and it has shaped them in some way. I also find it to be a more culturally responsive term because some people don't identify with only one experience. And when you use terms that open it up, I think people feel more included. So that's language that I found a lot of the disability communities use. Great question.
Very good. I think we have time for a couple more questions here. I think some kind of technical questions in terms of, at what age can youth reach out to MRC? Do they need to have visas or citizenship status? Some of those technical questions.
I would say those are challenging. It depends on the service. Usually you can still work with us in many of our services. So for that one, I would probably defer you to reach out so we can really assess which service you're interested in and kind of what paperwork you would need. But people have thought they couldn't use pre-ats, for example, or pre-employment transition services because of immigration status, and that is untrue. So that's an example of where we're trying to help people get connected. So for those, email us and we'll get you an answer ASAP. Or as soon as possible, sorry.
Wonder if you could, there's a few questions about the crossover or lack thereof between Department of Mental Health, Department of Developmental Services, and MRC. You talk a little bit about what to go to for each, like when folks should, since you're here, perhaps when folks come to your organization as opposed to the other two that I mentioned.
Yes, I think it's complicated. Some folks can benefit from services from all three. Some folks can benefit from services for one. Essentially, the short answer is Department of Mental Health is providing psychiatric and mental health services and support to people with diagnosed mental illness. We support people with mental illness, but it's more in a vocational rehab or employment way. So if people are looking to get back to work, if they're looking for community and independent living services, they can connect to us. And what's great about us and DDS is a service for people with developmental disabilities. But we connect. So if we see that you don't meet eligibility for MRC, we know DDS really well. We have working relationships with both of these agencies. So we'll say, it sounds like you might not actually want to connect with DDS. And again, the independent living centers can also get you connected to all of these agencies. So if you don't know, that is a great place to start because they are doing a lot of referral. And DDS has family support centers as well that do a lot of that, connecting and making sure you know which agencies can support you, in addition to our office, of course. But if you're connecting to one of those spaces, those are good ways to get quickly connected.
Super. We are coming to the end of our time, so I wanted to make sure, I noticed on one of your slides you had the opportunity to subscribe to a newsletter. So I want to make sure that we tell folks in the chat how to do that. There was actually a question about how to subscribe to the newsletter. And other than that, we do have a post, attendance survey that we would like our participants to answer. We also have a needs assessment for our Family Engagement Center that we would love for our participants to respond to. So I wanted to save some time to mention those two survey links and then just turn it over to you both to say thank you and to leave the last word to you all here, Amanda and Manel.
Well, thank you guys so much. We're so happy to see the level of questions because it means we have lots of resources we want to connect you with. For the newsletter, I don't have the link directly with me on how to subscribe, but I can say one of two things. Email Manel or I, and we will get you subscribed. And after this presentation, we will send Andrea the link so she can also share it with a copy of our slides so you can subscribe yourself if that's easier. So email us if you want to be subscribed. I've already had a couple emails come in. You people are on top of your stuff. But thank you. It has been wonderful. And we appreciate the honest feedback. Not all of you have had positive experiences. And part of us existing at this agency is to help change that and to understand what went wrong. So we're just appreciative that you're willing to listen and be open and share with us so we can make improvements, because we are not a perfect agency and we know that. We want to do better and we want to support you. And if we have missed the mark, we want to try to fix that. So please reach out. Manel and I will do what it takes to make sure we can bridge that for you. And Manel, I want to leave the last word to you as well, my friend.
Thank you, Amanda. A big thank you to the Federation for putting this together. A big thank you to our interpreters. I think this is awesome, providing a way for all families to get involved, to hear about the services in their own languages. And that goes a long way. So thank you to all the interpreters for that. And I want family members to know that Amanda and I and the Federation, we are on your side. So we want to work together with you. We may not have all the answers, and we'll be the first ones to tell you that, but we want to work with you to find the answers. We want to work with you so your your kids, your loved ones have access to the services and support that they need. We want to work with you to advocate, to move this movement forward. And one day we can say that we want to live in a society where every youth, every young adult, every adult with disabilities have access, opportunities, options to create the life that they want to live, not the life that they have to live, where they don't have to rely on the system just to survive, but to thrive. But it will take all of us working together. Your input, your ideas, your feedback, they go a long way. So it helps us to continue to assess and how we can better improve the services and supports we provide. So please keep us honest, keep letting us know what you think and what you need so we can work with you to make it possible for all. So thank you again for being here. And the Federation, this has been awesome. Amanda and I, we are looking forward to collaborating with you guys on more projects and more webinars to come. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you to both of you. Thank you to all participants. Please stay on here for a few moments. We will be providing a survey on this session in the chat. The survey link you see above will take some time to complete. So we'd love for you to complete that, maybe open it and keep it open in a separate window when you have time to complete it. It will take between 10 and 20 minutes. But the survey link for this session will be short and easy to complete. Thank you all so much. We also will be following up with an email with resources, with the slides for all of our participants.
Thanks all, and I'm feverishly trying to respond to as many questions as I can in the Q&A written, but please email us if we didn't get to you as well. We're happy to set up time or send you a response.